Well, crocodile numbers in the Northern Territory are at concerning levels, according to the Territory's Chief Minister. The Northern Territory's saltwater crocodile population has risen to about 100,000 following a ban placed on crocodile hunting in 1971 after they'd nearly been shot to extinction.
But experts are backing in the current management plan as one of the world's greatest crocodile success stories. For more on this, we're joined by Professor Sam Banks, Director of the Research Institute of Environment and Livelihoods at Charles Darwin University. Good morning, welcome to the program.
Bring me on.
Firstly, can you tell us about the existing crocodile management plan that's in place?
So I guess it's got a few different objectives underpinning it. Obviously, human safety is a big one. Conservation's a big one too, because, crocodiles got hunted almost to extinction by about the 1970s. They were then protected and they've really recovered to about 100,000 individuals, which we think is about the level they were at before hunting started. So they seem to be plateauing off and that number's really stabilised now. And beyond that, we also got quite a profitable crocodile industry in the Northern Territory that's worth about $25 million and provides income for remote communities as well, because one of the things we need to remember is that croc industry relies on a healthy wild population because it's based on collection of croc eggs from naturally breeding individuals.
And tell me, what did you make of this draft new 10-year management plan that the government put out in the last couple of days?
Look, I'm a fan of it, to be honest. I think the program historically and moving forward is a really good example of science and evidence-based wildlife management. There's a lot of monitoring goes into the current and future management of crocodiles, a lot of science to work out whether we're doing the right thing, whether we're using our resources most efficiently or not. And I think it's really a stock take of what are the new tools that we've got available to us, what are people's opinions on the way we're going forward, and can we adapt that and do better going into the future.
And it must be noted in the frame of this report or this draft being put out, that was when the Chief Minister, Eva Lawler, made the comments around that population of crocodiles might be at concerning levels. What did you make of those comments?
Well, look, I guess it's easy to have that perspective. And as you mentioned, they've really bounced back to about 100,000 individuals since being protected. But they have plateaued off at what we think are about their stable population levels. And that's really supported by a lot of regular crocodile counts that have been done. You do hear occasionally that crocodiles are getting bigger. Look, that is true. They've reached their probably upper population numbers and they're just all growing up. So there's a fair few crocs around. I guess one of the points that I think is important to consider is that if you look at the different areas where we get crocodiles and we get people, the number of crocodile attacks isn't really related to the number of crocodiles around. It's obviously a tragedy when anyone's killed by a crocodile, but that hasn't happened in the NT since 2018. It's happened more often in Queensland recently, where there's only about 30,000 crocodiles. You go to Timor-Leste, where they have a much larger number of croc attacks per year, or Indonesia, where they had about 80 or 90 croc attacks last year. And the croc numbers there are far lower. So there's a lot of different aspects to croc management for human safety that you need to consider. So to some extent in the NT, why mess with something that's working really well?
I guess the point the Chief Minister was making was specifically around some of those industries that you touched on, particularly around tourism at Wongai Falls and other areas in Litchfield National Park, that if you see the migration of crocodiles going into those areas, while there might not necessarily be an attack, it might make it harder to make it a place that people feel safe or comfortable going. But are you saying that that's just a different part of the conversation, or looking at different forms of management?
Well, I guess we do. There's a lot of talk about culling, but we do, whatever word you use in that context, we do have a fairly intensive crocodile removal / culling, if you want to call that, program already going on in those areas where there's high human risk. Darwin Harbour is the obvious one. We've got a really intensive crocodile removal program in Darwin Harbour. And it is also targeted at those places like Wongai Falls and areas where you've got a lot of tourists and a lot of swimming activity. So I think in some ways that's an instance, or the idea behind that is to use those resources for crocodile control and crocodile removal where the risk really occurs. Yes, there was one that popped up in Wongai Falls last year. It was also a very big wet season and crocodiles were moving around a lot. So, sometimes things happen. But overall, I think it's a good instance of really targeting management or targeting the risk management where it's needed in the Northern Territory.
Thank you for your time. Professor Sam Banks, Director of Research Institute and Environmental and Livelihoods at Charles Darwin University. Good to have you along.
Thank you.